What if you were told that the smartest man in history, Isaac Newton, lost his life savings to a single, glowing illusion? In 1720, the British Empire was gripped by a fever. It wasn't a plague. It was a systemic collapse of reason, known as the South Sea Bubble. This is the story of a company that didn't actually trade anything, but managed to audit the bank accounts of an entire nation until they were empty. It is the original financial ghost story, and it proves that human greed is the most predictable vulnerability in any system. Subscribe to the Audit Files to follow the money into the next file. To understand the crash, we must audit the foundation. The South Sea Company was founded in 1711, granted a monopoly on trade with South America. On paper, it was a titan. In reality, it was a shell. Spain controlled the ports, and the monopoly was worthless. But the directors of the company, the original scouts of financial manipulation, weren't interested in trading goods. They were trading debt. They struck a deal with the British government. The company would take over the national debt in exchange for stock. It was a massive, high-stakes debt-for-equity swap. By converting the government's liabilities into their own shares, they turned a boring state obligation into a speculative asset. They didn't need a product. They just needed the stock price to go up. And to do that, they turned the company into a marketing machine that would make a modern crypto scammer blush. By 1720, the South Sea Company had become a ghost in the machine of the British economy. The directors began a campaign of intense social engineering. They whispered of gold mines in Peru and silver in Mexico, fictions designed to trigger a spear-phishing attack on the collective psyche of London. The stock price, which sat at £128 in January, began a vertical ascent. By June, it hit £890. By August, £1,000. People didn't just invest, they liquidated their lives. Lords, servants, and even the clergy were all targets, clicking on the metaphorical link of easy wealth. The system was overheating, fueled by a feedback loop of pure hype and zero oversight. Hit the like button if you want to see more systemic failures exposed. As the South Sea stock soared, a peculiar systemic glitch occurred. A swarm of copycat bubbles appeared. Companies were formed for carrying on an undertaking of great advantage, but nobody to know what it is. To protect their own monopoly on greed, the South Sea directors pressured Parliament to pass the Bubble Act of 1720. It was a brilliant but fatal move. By outlawing other speculative companies, they unintentionally signaled to the market that the entire system was a house of cards. When investors began selling their shares in the copycat companies to pay for their South Sea stock, the liquidity began to dry up. The digital, or in this case paper, perimeter was about to be breached. In September 1720, the river of bills stopped flowing. The realization that the company's holy grail trade was a fiction hit the market like a digital storm. The stock price didn't just dip, it collapsed from £1,000 to £150 in a matter of weeks. The fallout was a total systemic failure. Thousands of featureless investors, the everyday CHABs who thought they were part of the new era, were ruined. Parliament launched an investigation, a massive forensic audit of the company's books. They found the screener, or the scouts, had bribed over 100 members of Parliament with ghost stock, shares that didn't exist given to them so they would pass favorable laws. It was a global financial conspiracy that left a trail of ruined lives and a shattered national economy. The legacy of the South Sea Bubble is a landmark in the history of systemic failure. It proved that you don't need a smart device to infiltrate a secure facility. You just need to exploit the cultural blind spots of an entire civilization. Isaac Newton famously remarked, "I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people." The tools change from paper stock to cryptocurrency, from coffeehouse whispers to social media hype, but the vulnerability remains unpatched. The next time a strange machine or a can't-miss opportunity appears in your feed, remember the South Sea. It might not be offering a prize, it might be there to take everything else. This is the Audit Files. Subscribe and follow the money.